You're scrolling through housing market predictions at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday, and every financial guru is saying the same thing. Wait for rates to drop. Your landlord just raised rent $350. Your lease renewal is in 60 days. You've saved $45,000 and you're trying to calculate whether waiting another year for a 2% rate drop will actually save you money. Or whether you're just burning cash while convincing yourself you're being financially responsible. Sound familiar? You've done this math half a dozen times. You've bookmarked the mortgage calculator. You know your target neighborhoods. But every time you get close to pulling the trigger, someone posts another forecast showing rates dropping next quarter, and you think maybe I should just wait a little longer. The goalposts keep moving, your savings account keeps shrinking from rent payments, and you're stuck in analysis paralysis while prices do something nobody's honestly calculating. I'm going to show you the actual mathematics of waiting, the real numbers that compare buying today at 7% versus waiting 12 months for 5% rates. We'll calculate exactly how much prices would need to rise to erase your rate savings, how much money you burn in rent while waiting, and the devastating opportunity cost nobody mentions. Then I'll walk through a real household budget to show you what just wait actually costs in dollars you'll never get back. Here's the situation you're in right now. Everyone in your life is giving you contradicting advice. Real estate agents say, buy now. Financial Twitter says, wait. Your parents say they don't understand this market. Friends who bought last year either brag or express regret, depending on what rates did since closing. You're trapped in a loop of conflicting information, and the weight of the decision is paralyzing because you know this choice impacts your finances for decades. But here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't a market timing question. This is a mathematics question that has a real answer. There are three costs of waiting that nobody calculates together. The rent you burn every single month, the equity you don't build while you're waiting, and the price increases that erase any rate savings you hope to capture. These three forces compound against each other, and when you add them up, the math becomes devastating. Most people never run this complete calculation because it requires looking at variables that feel unrelated. Rent feels like a separate issue from home prices. Equity building feels abstract compared to monthly payment amounts, but they're all connected, and when you see them together, the waiting strategy falls apart fast. Let me give you a promise right now. I'm going to build this calculation line by line so you can see exactly where the money goes in both scenarios. We'll look at a real household's budget under both paths, and I'm going to reveal why the entire financial media ecosystem profits from keeping you confused and waiting, because that confusion generates their revenue. By the end of this, you'll have the actual answer to whether waiting saves you money or costs you a fortune you'll never recover. Here's the narrative everyone believes. Rates are 7% now, but they'll drop to 5% next year, saving you hundreds per month. Let me show you the basic mortgage calculation that makes this sound so appealing. On a $500,000 home with 20% down, going from 7% to 5% saves you about $520 monthly. That's $6,240 per year. Forever. This sounds like clear financial logic. Just wait 1 year, endure your current rent, and then save over $6,000 annually for the entire life of your mortgage. Anyone telling you to buy now instead of waiting sounds financially illiterate, right? But here's the variable nobody discusses in these predictions. Prices don't freeze while you wait for rates to drop. This is the assumption embedded in every wait for lower rates recommendation, and it's completely wrong. What actually happens? When rates drop, prices rise. More buyers can suddenly afford to compete. Yeah, sellers know buyers have more budget capacity. Demand surges from everyone who is waiting for this exact moment. You're not the only one with this strategy. Thousands of other buyers in your market are also waiting, and when rates drop, you're all flooding back in simultaneously. Let me show you the historical pattern. Every single time mortgage rates have dropped significantly, home prices have increased within 6 to 12 months. It's not a coincidence. It's mechanical. Lower rates mean higher buying power. Higher buying power means more competition. More competition means higher prices. The market doesn't reward patience. It punishes coordination. So here's the critical question. Nobody asks, how much can prices rise before your rate savings evaporate completely? Let's do the basic calculation. That $500,000 home at 7% with 20% down gives you a monthly principal and interest payment of $2,657. Now imagine you wait 12 months. Rates drop to 5% like everyone predicted. But prices rose 10% while you waited, so that home is now $550,000. At 5% with 20% down, your monthly payment is $2,960. Wait, that's $303 more per month than buying today at 7%, despite the lower rate. A 10% price increase completely erases a 2% rate drop and actually makes you worse off. This is the math nobody shows you in those glossy rate prediction articles. They show you the rate savings in isolation. They never calculate the offsetting price increase. And 10% annual price growth isn't even extreme in many markets right now. Some markets are seeing 15 or 20% growth. The more you wait, the more expensive patience becomes. Now let me introduce the second cost of waiting that compounds this problem. Every month you wait, you pay rent that builds zero equity. Walk through the specific math with me. If you're paying $2,400 monthly in rent and you wait 12 months for rates to drop, you've spent $28,000. $800 that's gone forever. That money evaporated. You have nothing to show for it except 12 more months of not being homeless. But it's worse than that. Let me show you what that rent money could have done. If you'd bought today instead of waiting, roughly $800 of your first year's mortgage payments would have gone to principal. The rest goes to interest, taxes, insurance. $800 per month building equity isn't great. It's actually pretty depressing when you see how much goes to interest. But it's $9,600 of forced savings. Money that's yours. Money that's building your net worth even though you can't spend it yet. So what's the opportunity cost of renting while waiting? It's not just the $28,800 you spent on rent. It's that amount plus the $9,600 of equity you didn't build. $38,400. That's the total wealth impact of waiting 1 year. You spent $28,800 and failed to gain $9,600. Both of those numbers count against you. Here's the devastating realization. Even if waiting somehow saves you money on your monthly payment, how many months does it take to recover $38,400? If you magically save $200 per month by waiting, which we've already shown is unlikely, it takes 191 months to break even. That's almost 16 years. 16 years to recover what you lost in 1 year of waiting, and that's assuming prices only rose enough to give you that tiny $200 monthly savings, which, as we calculated earlier, isn't even realistic with a 10% price increase. Most waiting scenarios never actually break even when you factor in rent burn. The opportunity cost is too massive. The price increases are too fast. The break-even horizon stretches beyond the point where it matters. You'd be in your late 40s trying to recover a decision you made in your early 30s. The math is brutal, and the math doesn't care about your intentions. Now let me build the complete cost comparison with real numbers for both paths. Watch what happens when we put these scenarios side by side. I want you to see every single line item so there's no confusion about where the money goes. Path 1. Buy now. $500,000 home at 7% interest with 20% down. That's $100,000 as your down payment. Your monthly mortgage payment for principal and interest is $2,657. Now add property tax at $500 monthly, homeowner's insurance at $200, HOA fees at $300, maintenance reserve at $200 because things break and you need to be ready. Total monthly housing cost is $3,857. Over your first year of ownership, approximately $9,600 of your mortgage payments go toward principal. That's equity you're building. So your total first-year cost in terms of actual wealth reduction is $3,857 times 12 months, which is $46,284, minus the $9,600 in equity you built. That's $36,684 in actual wealth reduction for year one. Path 2. Wait 12 months. You pay $2,400 in rent for 12 months. That's $28,800 that evaporated completely. Now, let's say prices rose 10% during your waiting period, which is conservative in many current markets. That $500,000 home is now $550,000. You need $110,000 for 20% down, but you only have $55,000 saved because you spent $28,800 on rent. And let's assume you saved $2,300 monthly during that year. You're short. Way short. So now you have to recalculate with 5% down using an FHA loan, which requires PMI. $550,000 home at 5% interest with 5% down. That's $27,500 for your down payment. Your monthly mortgage payment is $2,808. Add PMI at $242 monthly because you didn't have 20% down. Property tax is now $550 because the home is more expensive. Insurance is $220. HOA is $300. Maintenance reserve is $200. Total monthly housing cost is $4,312. That's $455 more per month than buying now at the higher rate. Despite waiting for rates to drop, despite doing what every financial guru told you was the smart move, over your first year of ownership, approximately $8,000 of your payments go to equity after accounting for PMI eating into your principal payments. Your total first-year cost is $4,312 times 12 months, which is $51,744 minus $8,000 in equity, plus the $28,800 you already spent on rent while waiting. That's $72,544 in total wealth reduction. Look at that number. Really look at it. And waiting cost you $35,860 more in year one. It gave you a monthly payment that's $455 higher, despite the lower interest rate. And it forced you into PMI because you couldn't save fast enough while bleeding money to rent. This is the screenshot that's going to go viral. This is the math nobody in the financial media shows you because it destroys their entire narrative. The waiting strategy didn't just fail. It backfired catastrophically. You paid more money, you got a worse monthly payment, you have less equity, and you're poorer by $35,860 in year one alone. That deficit compounds every single year because you're starting from a position of being $35,000 behind. Let me show you what this looks like in a real household budget, because the math feels different when it's buying groceries versus building equity. Meet Sarah and Marcus. Sarah is 32, works as a marketing manager, makes $82,000 annually. Marcus is 34, software developer, makes $108,000. Combined household income is $190,000, which is solidly middle class in their metro area. They've saved $48,000. They currently rent a 2-bedroom apartment for $2,600 monthly. They've been waiting 18 months for rates to improve because everyone told them it was the smart financial move. Here's their complete monthly budget. Combined take-home after taxes, health insurance, and 401k contributions is approximately $11,000. Rent is $2,600. Student loans are $900. Car payments are $650. Groceries are $800. Utilities, internet, and phone bills are $350. Auto gas is $300. Auto and life insurance is $300. They don't have kids yet, so childcare is $0. Entertainment and subscriptions are $400. They're currently saving $1,500 monthly, which feels responsible and disciplined. They ran the numbers on buying. Houses in their target area are now $625,000. When they started seriously looking 18 months ago, similar homes were $520,000. At 7% interest with 20% down, that's $125,000 needed up front. Their all-in monthly housing cost would be $4,900, including mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA, and maintenance. That's 58% of their take-home income. The conventional affordability maximum is 43%. They're priced out, not because they're financially irresponsible, because they waited. Here's what that feels like day to day. It feels like Marcus refreshing Redfin during his lunch break and seeing a house they toured 6 months ago. It was listed at $540,000 then. Redfin estimates it's worth $610,000 now, $70,000 in 6 months. It feels like Sarah doing the mortgage calculator again at midnight, changing variables, hoping different numbers will somehow make it work, and feeling stupid for not buying when they first had the down payment ready. It feels like the quiet resentment building between them about whose idea it was to wait. Neither of them can remember now, but both feel like the other one talked them out of pulling the trigger. It feels like doing the math on their rent payments over 18 months. $46,800. That would have covered most of their down payment shortfall. It feels like exhaustion, a bone-deep exhaustion from feeling financially responsible by waiting, while actually falling further behind every single month. Their caution cost them affordability itself. The thing they were trying to protect, their financial stability, was destroyed by the very strategy designed to preserve it. They weren't reckless. They weren't impulsive. They listened to advisors, they waited for better conditions. And now they're priced out of the market entirely unless one of them gets a massive raise or they move to a cheaper city. So why did everyone keep telling them to wait? Let me show you why the entire system profits from your confusion. Financial media makes money from engagement. Articles titled "Wait for the Perfect Moment" generate infinite clicks because the perfect moment never comes. There's always another prediction to publish, another expert to interview, another rate forecast to analyze. Every new article resets the waiting clock and brings you back to their platform. They don't make money when you buy a house and stop reading their content. They make money when you're trapped in analysis paralysis, returning every week for the latest update. Real estate agents benefit from higher prices because their commissions are percentage-based. A 6% commission on a $625,000 home is $37,500. On a $520,000 home, it's $31,200. That's $6,300 more for the same work. Some agents genuinely want you to wait if they believe prices will rise because it directly increases their paycheck. Mortgage brokers make more money on larger loans. They're incentivized to support anything that increases purchase prices because their fees scale with loan size. Online real estate platforms like Zillow and Redfin profit from you searching, returning, agonizing, refreshing estimates. Not from you actually buying and leaving their platforms. Every visit generates ad revenue. Every search creates data they can sell. Every save and favorite trains their algorithm. They need you engaged indefinitely. Even well-meaning advisors default to wait because it sounds prudent and cautious. If you wait and lose out, you can't blame them for encouraging action. If you buy and rates drop later, you might resent them for pushing you into a bad deal. Waiting is the safe recommendation for the advisor, even when it's devastating for you. It protects their reputation at the expense of your wealth. Nobody in this ecosystem is incentivized to tell you the truth. Buy the imperfect house at the imperfect rate with the imperfect payment, because perfect never comes and rent is financial cancer. That truth ends the conversation. It stops the clicks. It prevents future commissions. It eliminates the need for ongoing advice. The system needs you trapped in perpetual optimization mode, in endless comparison shopping. Because that's where the money is for everyone except you. Here's the direct warning you need to hear right now. If your household income is below $200,000 in high-cost markets or below $120,000 in median cost markets, and current median home prices require more than 45% of your gross income for total housing costs, you are mathematically priced out unless something changes. Waiting for rate drops will not save you if prices rise proportionally or faster. The math is the math, and the math does not care about your feelings or your timeline. Your realistic options are these. 1. Buy the most affordable property available now. Accept that it's not your forever home, but it stops rent burn and starts your equity clock. 2. Increase your income substantially through career changes, side work, or partnering with another earner. 3. Relocate to a market where your income buys stability instead of stress. 4. Accept long-term renting and optimize your financial life around that reality. What is not an option? Waiting for the market to fix itself while you watch from the sidelines burning money. The market doesn't care about your timeline. It doesn't care that you're working hard and doing everything right. It doesn't care that your parents bought their house on one income at 3 times their salary. The market operates on supply and demand, and right now demand vastly exceeds supply while your rent evaporates every month. Let me give you permission to do something radical. Both buying in an overpriced market and renting while prices rise are hard. Both require sacrifice. Both involve financial pain. The question isn't which option is easy, because neither is easy. The question is which hard aligns with your actual life situation, your risk tolerance, and your timeline. If you're staying in your city for 10 plus years and can afford the payment, even if it's painful, buying now stops the rent burn and starts the equity clock. Is it ideal? No. Will you feel house poor? Probably. But you'll be building something instead of watching your money evaporate while you wait for conditions that may never arrive. If you're uncertain about location, if your career trajectory is unstable, if major life changes are coming, renting preserves flexibility even at financial cost. That flexibility has real value. The ability to move for a better job, to relocate for family, to leave a city that's not working for you. These things matter, and being trapped in a mortgage you can't afford in a city you want to leave is its own nightmare. If you're genuinely priced out, if the numbers simply don't work even at maximum stretch, relocating to an affordable market or optimizing your rental life isn't failure. It's refusing to destroy yourself financially, chasing an impossible standard that the market has placed out of reach for your income level. You can choose not to play this game. Why not? You can choose a smaller home in a less desirable area and be financially stable instead of house poor in the perfect neighborhood. You can choose to rent forever and invest the difference between rent and ownership costs into index funds. You can choose to leave expensive cities entirely and build wealth in places where your income goes further. These aren't consolation prizes. They're legitimate paths to financial security. Success isn't buying a house. Success is making the calculated decision that doesn't bankrupt your present while waiting for a future that never arrives. You're not behind. You didn't miss the boat. You didn't fail because you didn't buy in 2019 or 2012, or whenever the retrospectively perfect moment was. The market is broken. The ratio between wages and home prices is broken. The system that's supposed to connect hard work with stable housing is broken. What you do with that information is your choice. You can keep waiting for perfect conditions that benefit everyone except you. Or you can choose your hard. The heart of buying imperfectly now. The heart of renting strategically forever. The heart of relocating to markets that actually work. All of these choices are valid. All of them require sacrifice. But only one of them, continuing to wait while burning rent and watching prices rise, guarantees you'll be poorer next year than you are today. Waiting for the perfect rate while prices rise is like watching your life raft float away while you wait for calmer seas. The water's the same temperature either way, but now you're drowning and the boat is gone. Choose accordingly.